Hi guys, this is editorial analysis for 18th January 2017. Today there are very important editorials, about 3 of them. So let's start. The first one is from Indian Express. It talks about waste management in India and what we should do about it. So what are some of the measures? So we'll discuss some of the measures here. First one is that we should segregate the biodegradable or wet waste from dry waste at the source itself. Second, municipal governments can use the wet waste to produce compost and biogas in the biomethanation plants. Third, the dry waste after removal of recyclable elements should go to waste to energy plants. Fourth, a number of waste to energy plants are coming up in urban India, which use methods like incineration, something called refuse derived fuel RDF, RDF based combustion or conversion technologies such as pyrolysis and gasification and plasma gasification. So these are some of the methods: incineration, RDF based combustion, and pyrolysis and gasification and plasma gasification. Fifthly, the controversial waste to energy plant based on incineration of unsegregated municipal waste at Okhla. So there was this plant at Okhla based on incineration. It processes almost up to 2,000 tons of unsegregated municipal solid waste every day to feed into its boilers to produce about 16 megawatts of electricity. This plant initially came under fire because it did not come under the emission standards. It has been cleared by the NGT now, which certifies that it meets the emission standards of Central Pollution Control Board. Sixthly, another technology is called syngas, syngas. Under this technology, waste is burned at very high temperature in an oxygen controlled environment, and this thermal reaction produces syngas. It can be burnt directly or transported through pipelines or tankers, etc., for further refining or for electricity generation and for chemical and fertilizer industry, though this technology is very expensive as of now. Lastly, we also need subsidies for waste to energy plants to make them more financially viable. And there's one more point. There was a pyrolysis gasification plant that was set up in Pune, but it failed because of high cost of cleaning syngas. So these are some points on waste management. Let's move on to the second editorial, very important. This is also from Indian Express. So you know that no court can take cognizance of an offence by a civil servant unless a sanction has been granted by the government to initiate an investigation into his or her alleged offence. So what happens is that this has been done to protect the officers from frivolous complaints so that they can go about their work. And but what happens in this case is that sometimes civil servants try to hide under the garb of this provision, and sometimes dishonest officers are let go scot-free because the sanction of an investigation is not given by the government, and it is not so easy to investigate against them. So it's not that easy. So this editorial is in that regard. So let me just start. It says that Section 1919 of the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, it says, and I'm quoting it, "No court shall take cognizance of an offence alleged to have been committed by a public servant except with the previous sanction." Quote end. This has been done to balance the need for an honest officer and against frivolous complaints. Section 19 of the PCA imposes a bar on the court to take cognizance of an offence till sanctions have been obtained from the government. There is no prohibition, however, there is no prohibition either under the Prevention of Corruption Act or the CRPC to start an investigation by lodging an FIR or through a court initiated investigation. So even though the PCA says that, however, there is no bar on initiation of an investigation through FIR or through a court initiated investigation. However, recently the court, several high courts and the Supreme Court, they have given contradictory position on this issue. Let's do some of the cases. It says that in Anil Kumar versus MK Ayyappa case 2013, Anil Kumar versus MK Ayyappa case 2013, the court held that section 19 of PCA applies at the threshold itself, and any application for investigation is not maintainable without the prior sanction of the government. So in this case, Anil Kumar versus MK Ayyappa case, it says that no investigation shall be initiated without the prior sanction of the government. Even if you try to take shortcut, or even if you try to find a loophole in the law and try to initiate an investigation, it will be nipped at the bud because it is not allowed at all. So that was the position taken by Anil Kumar versus MK Ayyappa 2013. The Supreme Court in L. Narayan Swamy versus State 2016 has followed the same judgment. So in this L. Narayan Swamy case also, that one also followed the Anil Kumar versus MK Ayyappa case. However, taking a contradictory position, the larger benches of the apex court, that is Supreme Court, in R. Chari versus State, the Supreme Court said that there is no requirement of sanction. Same view was upheld in the state of Rajasthan versus Rajkumar case 1988. This R. Chari versus State was in 1951, and this state of Rajasthan versus Rajkumar case was in 1998. So in these two cases, the government has taken a contrary position to the other verdicts of the various courts and the Supreme Court itself. The author is of the position that the Supreme Court should correct this anomaly, because several high courts have started supporting the Ayyappa verdict, and it could lead to what it could lead to is that influential bureaucrats will start nipping an investigation in the bud to protect themselves. So that is on civil service, which is a topic under GS Mains paper 2. Let's move on to the next editorial. This is from Hindustan Times. It's important because it comes under the topic of defense, which is important in GS Mains paper 3. It says that the expert committee led by Lieutenant General retired D.B. Shekatkar has submitted report on enhancing combat capability and rebalancing defense expenditure. So the article has suggested two of his recommendations. I'm just going to read them out. The first recommendation is to appoint a single point military advisor to the defense minister. This advisor, he should be a 4-star appointment. That means equivalent to service chiefs. He should be a coordinator, and he ought not to interfere with operations and administration of defense. Second recommendation is to integrate service headquarters with the Ministry of Defense. So that's it for today, 18th January 2017. Thank you.